What's up, good people? What's going on? This is the Bearded Man Chronicles. I hope everyone is well. What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? If you guys are on Facebook, please be sure to share this live. If you're new to YouTube, I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. More importantly, hit the bell so that you guys are notified when I go live. As always, I have a panel, three amazing people. So, by further ado, let me introduce them to you. And let's see. First, we have coming up. We got Sheena. What's up, baby? What's going on?
Hello. Hi, everybody.
What's good with it?
Hey, good to see you, Kevin.
Likewise, you ready to dive into it?
Yeah.
All right. Next, we got Shay. What's going on, Mama? How you
Hey,
feeling?
hey, hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm about to dive in.
You ready for it, huh?
I'm ready. Okay.
I love it. That's funny.
All right, next we got the man with the plan. It's Gio. What's up, man? What's going
What's
on?
up? What's up? Good evening. Good evening, people. It's good to see all your beautiful
See you
faces.
You
too.
too, G. I like the mustache and the goatee. Yeah, that's goatee, right?
I'm a little scruffy, yeah.
Yeah, he
I
cool.
like
Hey,
it.
that's
Sassy.
real.
Thank you, though.
Sassy.
That's real. Is that real?
Is it real? Wow, yeah. I got the glue.
So they getting
on.
so good with it. You have to ask.
Hey, baby, if you want a mustache, you want hair up top, they can fix you up, right?
What's going on, good people? So today's topic is trauma. It might be a little heavy, but guess what? We is going to get through this. This is episode 18. Do you suffer from trauma? How to overcome trauma? As you guys know, there's different forms of trauma, and today we would dive in that. Also, too, for the people in the chat, I would drop the link, and we also will have participation from you guys. So if you guys want to jump in, each person to jump in get 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, and then we'll go to the next person. So we're gonna try to make this a more interactive stream or podcast or whatever you want to call it. So let me see a good icebreaker. I want to break it up. I saw something that was really interesting today, and I don't know. Okay, this is the icebreaker question. Should a man stay around after he find out he's not the father of that child?
Ooh.
So I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say hell no. However, it also depends on that relationship he has with that child and how much he loved the kid. But after I find out it's not my child, either you cheated on me or you lied. You lied to me. So at that point, yeah, I'm gonna have to go. Shay, what's your opinion on that?
It definitely depends on the relationship. That's hard to say just because he's not the dad, and how long he's been there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people build a relationship with a kid. Hell, you know you're not the mama or the daddy when you get into the relationship and they have a kid already, and it's hard to leave. So just imagine actually thinking you was the father of the mother, well, the father of a child, and you really wasn't a father. Yeah, I think it would be kind of hard. So it depends on the relationship.
Okay, Gio.
I need to see the whole episode so I know like what happened, how we got in this situation, But just give what's given. I mean, I think that usually in those situations, there's already a bond that's created, and so it's really tough for the person to leave.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you're willing to stay, I would love for you to be here, but if you want to walk away, I completely understand. So, depends on how many years they've been in the child's life too. You got those good men that stick around and say, you know what, that's my kid, no matter what. So I don't know. Sheena, what you doing?
Yeah, I think they need to change some of the laws because if I'm not mistaken, if you've signed the birth certificate, you still would have to be liable for child support and things like that. Am I right about that? From watching paternity court and stuff? Like if you've signed the birth certificate thinking that you were the dad, you were like, that's your responsibility, right?
I thought it was a responsibility until they found out that they wasn't, and they actually could prove that they wasn't.
Oh, but I think that's still a process too, though. Sometimes
it is
years,
Yeah,
so it's kind of unfair. But again, like you guys all said, I think it depends on the relationship and the bond.
For sure.
How difficult it would be to detach. So
For sure.
So, case to case basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, people in the comments? What's going on, Art? What's up,
Hey,
Young Wolf?
Art.
What's going on,
Hey, Young
people
Wolf.
on Facebook? I can't see the names, but I see there's some people here, so I just want to say hello and welcome. So let's dive into it, guys. So this is episode 18. Do you suffer from trauma? Whether it's past, present, how to overcome trauma. And when we think about trauma, I think we only think of the physical, which can be caused from being in a domestic violence situation or being bullied. There's also sexual abuse. There's also abandonment trauma. There's trauma of when someone passed. And, with trauma, those things can follow you into adulthood. I believe, in my personal opinion, trauma also develop into toxicity if it's not properly taken care of. And from a personal experience, I want to start off by just kind of like telling the people the type of trauma that I endured. I endured trauma for being a motherless and a fatherless son. Abandonment trauma. So right before my mom passed away, which she died when I was 10 and a half, I still felt abandoned before she passed away. And I went into this anger when she passed away, because I felt like I didn't get a chance to actually have conversations with her. With my father, he passed away. He wasn't really active at all in my life. But the good thing outside of that was the blessing my aunt and cousins and everything that stemmed from that. My grandmother, I had a chance to build relationships and have a great relationship with them. But I always felt I had this abandonment issue. And, when you go through trauma, there's 5 steps you go through. The first one is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then more importantly, accepting what it is that's going on. And so I dealt with that. And here it is here. These are the 5 stages to this process. The denial, like I mentioned, anger, bargaining, depression, and last but not least, we have acceptance. And, I realized that it really, really took a toll on me, to the point all of my relationships was affected by that. That's why I made it easier for me to walk away from a lot of situations, because I didn't want, for me, it was safer for me to leave than you to leave me, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, and even though I've went to therapy and I still have that residual trauma that's still there. For the most part, I feel good. I talked about it, but I still have this thing where I'd rather leave you before you leave me, because it's that whole abandonment thing. It takes a toll on me. And for many years, I felt abandoned, even though my grandparents and my sister was instrumental and amazing in raising me. But I still had that trauma there, because your first love is your parents. Yeah. And I didn't feel that. Even before, I didn't feel that from my parents. I knew that my mom loved me. It's weird. I knew she loved me, but oftentimes I felt like she didn't like me. And so when she died, it crushed me. I went through anger, because I can't say what I wanted to say. I went through sadness, because this is my mom. And so it took me a minute, and over the years, I saw myself going down like a slippery slope. I was horrible. My sister told me I was a horrible kid growing up, but that was rebellion. That was most definitely me being rebellious and me being depressed it didn't hit me until like my early 20s. I don't think I had ever really grieved the death of my mom, or even really understanding I'm a motherless and fatherless child, and it's not the easiest thing to deal with. So I did what I had to do. I did my work with that, but for me, the main thing was I was always in denial. Once I came to the accepting, like, listen, you have a problem and it's something you can take care of. And I think I had this conversation a few times with some family, and I think I mentioned it to Shay. It's easy for me to leave relationships. Not that I don't love people, but I don't want to feel, I'd rather leave you before you leave me. It's that whole abandonment thing. And of course you have that residual thing and stuff that you go through. But yeah, that's just a little of my story and stuff. And it's trauma. You can get over it. The main thing is once you accept it, you do the right things that you have to do to get rid of it. And because you don't want it to get worse and develop into some toxicity, even in relationships. It was always easy for me to leave. Not that I wanted to leave, but guess what? I'm gonna bail out before you bail out on me. So I'm always, I feel like, a work in progress. I think we'll always be works in progress. And so that's where I'm at with that. And so I'm overcoming it. And I when I look back, I'm very proud of the man I've become. Just me doing the work for myself, knowing that I had an issue and me seeking out to get stuff. I don't know if you guys ever dealt with current or past trauma. Is there anybody who want to kind of touch on what they've been through or anything like that?
Well, I wanted to ask you before we move on, was there a definitive moment or situation that happened that made you stop and realize that you needed to make a change?
Yes. I can remember just being evil. So what I didn't like, I had this thing, and my sister and I talked about it, and even like with my nieces, it's like kids at a certain age growing up, for some reason I didn't like them. I think it because that was the age where I felt like I was the most alone, and so anybody at that age level triggered me. If that makes sense. I can remember me just being mean to my niece and being mean to but yeah, it like triggered me and stuff like that. But and I just realized, like, me just up and leaving relationships, not caring if these people I love and people I know, and I could just walk out of somebody's life like that. That's not healthy. So I knew at that point that I had to do work for myself, and I desperately, I did that. But the thing is, with trauma, you always have that residual that's left, and that's what I'm still a work in progress, and I'm still working on. What's up, Rebirth? What's up, Nate? What's going on, bro? What's going on, everybody? Welcome.
I see you, Shay.
Nate said,
comments. We appreciate it.
Right. Nate said, I agree with you. I lost my mom at 12. It's easy for me to leave someone.
So yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, it's like that. I don't know what it is, but if somebody was to leave me, it puts me in a depression. Whereas if I leave you, I'm fine. It's my defense mechanism. But if you walk out and leave me, oh yeah, I take
it. You want to be honest, friend, on live stream?
Huh?
We done talked about this 100 times.
You said what?
I said you want to tell the truth on live stream.
Yeah, because I want to be transparent with the people.
Good. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that.
I want to be transparent with people. I can't expect transparency, and I'm not getting transparent back. You know what I mean?
What'd you say, Gio?
Now get them.
I'm like,
what's up, Mocha?
We be arguing. Like, I'm like, dude, like, don't be like that. Because you like, I don't care. And I'm like, don't be like that. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
What's up, Mocha?
Rebirth says, so at what point do you let it go?
You have to. So we talked about the different phases: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. At the point where you accept it, and at the point where it's taking over you, at that point, that's when you need to do something. When people is telling you, man, You know, I know you're not that kind of person, but you need to look into that. You know, that should be that aha moment. Like, why? How can I just walk out of people that I love, just life like that? Only because I'm afraid if they're gonna walk out on me first, and I can literally have somebody leave somebody. It doesn't matter, but but that's not healthy. So I'm working on that. Now, some people is toxic. You just get rid of them, but some people it's worth fighting for. So I'm learning that. I'm desperately learning that because I don't want to be that toxic guy, in a relationship or taking that, I don't want to be that guy. So,
is it possible for you to describe some of the feelings that you feel when these abandonment type situations happen in relationships? Like the fear of losing them is comparable to what, or like, what do you kind of?
It's like somebody having somebody take your soul from you, like feeling empty. It literally feel like that. It's the same how I felt with my parents. My parents, even though they died young, died when I was younger, they did die young. But I always felt abandoned from them. So even though my grandparents and sisters and other relatives showed me love, it's nothing like love from your parents. That love from your parents is essential in a person's growth, a person's maturity, and it also impacts how you become an adult too. And I did not want to become a statistic. I did not, because I could have, coped with substances, drugs, but I didn't do that. I used that also to be and do everything I can so I wasn't like my parents. So yeah, it's constant work. And I got a therapist. I actually talked to my therapist 2 weeks ago. I talk to them and say, hey, I feel like this. Let me, if I'm wrong for this and stuff like that. Because, for me, 38, you get to a point where you like, not like a midlife crisis, but like, what's next for me? Like, what's next? And, things like that. So it's always good I tell people, it's always good to talk to someone when you're feeling kind of, I don't care how you feel. I think it's essential because sometimes friends can be biased, or you don't want to feel judged. You need somebody who don't know you that's going to be able to give you honest feedback.
Yep.
So let me ask you guys this. Has there been any current or past trauma you guys are open to share with us? What's up, Dre?
Hey, Dre.
Hey, Dre. I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I was in a very toxic relationship. And he suffered from alcoholism, and I was not aware of that for maybe a whole 18 months of the relationship. I thought that he liked to drink, but I didn't think he had to or needed to, but and it traumatized me to the point where I won't even date people that drink. And I know that's bad. That sounds bad. I don't drink. But I don't it was a terrible experience. Like to know that someone to say they love you can treat you that bad when they have something to drink. It was a terrible feeling. So that's something that I still struggle with to this day. And I don't like to be judgmental or feel like I'm judging anybody, but I just feel like I don't want to go back down that path again. I never want to feel as bad as I felt with trying to make this person believe that that I was not this person they thought I was, or that I really thought I could help him on his journey, and it had nothing to do with me.
Wow.
So that's been a very traumatizing experience. And it's a feeling that I never want to feel again.
Do you feel like you were in a constant battle with him and alcohol? Like, was he different when he was drunk and when he was sober?
He was. Listen, he was so different to the point where my family didn't believe me. When I tell them the things that he would do, I had to start recording stuff for people to believe me. They were like, he's not like that. Oh my God, he's crazy about you. Why are you making that up, Sheena? I'm like, no, I'm not. I had to start recording for people to believe that he was a different person when he drank. A very ugly person.
Wow.
And I went through a lot.
Sorry.
Went through a lot.
Do you think you know why he, because sometimes when you're with somebody, you can kind of learn about their past and history. Is there anything that you could put together as to why he turned to drinking? Like, is there a reason for it that you were able to identify?
Well, from the experience, I think it had a lot to do with his profession, because he had the kind of profession where he would just get a slap on the wrist and not really get in any trouble because he worked for the state. And they have this really bad system where they allow people to do these things, put them in a short course, and they come back to work with their same seniority and everything. And I think it just makes them a more terrible person.
Wow.
It's a hindrance. They enable people that work for the state because of the resources that they have and the relationships that they've built with judges and police, and it's terrible. Wow. And I did not want to sit around and wait for the police to call me and tell me that he had fell asleep behind the wheel and killed himself or killed someone. It was a liability on my mental and just in life, on my life period. And it was just a terrible experience. I really thought that I could help him one day, and I ended up staying for like 3 years and I couldn't help him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how has that situation impacted current situations? Like when you try to date, how have that impacted the way you date? Do it scares you sometimes?
It does. It turns me off when people drink. I mean, or if a guy asks me for like a first date and he's like, well, let's go have a drink. And I'm like, I don't want to be like, I don't drink. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? No, red flag. You're a red flag. Because ain't nobody told you I didn't tell you I drink. So I don't know. It was a terrible feeling though, to think that you can help somebody, or no matter what I did, it was never good enough,
Right.
I can remember one time begging and pleading with the police not to take. He had fell asleep behind the wheel on 94 and like crashed his car. Everything was in a ditch. And I was begging and pleading with the police to let him come home with me because we had a flight to catch the next morning. It was his birthday. So just stuff like that. And he didn't even, and then he was the kind of drunk that didn't remember anything. So the next day he'll be like, well, I would have did it for you. What you say you did for me? I would have did that for you.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, hell no, I got to be done with this because he crazy as hell.
Dang.
So it was a lot. So it really, it did something to me. Just to know that somebody can tell you they love you, and then when they drink, this ugly, ugly person comes out.
It's also hard to see people go through those things that you care about,
Yeah, absolutely.
and wanting to fix them and wanting to make things better, but being unable to. It's really difficult.
But where I got my peace was the day that I actually left and never turned back, because I didn't realize how many sleepless nights I had.
Somebody's thing is ringing.
We're trying to make sure he was.
I don't know.
That's yours, KJ.
It's not mine. It's not mine.
Rebirth.
Who got the hotline?
Right.
It ain't me.
Rebirth posted.
So let me ask you this. Oh, go ahead.
One of our streamers said, I felt that way for the most part of my life. My father was never there. I was raised by my stepdad. However, knowing that my dad was around but didn't want me had me feeling alone and abandoned. Like I just wanted to fit in. So I built a wall, not letting anyone in, not sharing my feelings with anyone, just living like I was in the world by myself. Yeah. He just died 2 months ago and I didn't know what to feel, but I've gotten over it. I had to forgive him in order to move forward.
What's up, Harold? What's going on? Wow, that's deep. And it's, and just to piggyback off what Rebirth said, I can remember that, like I said, I felt abandoned by both parents, but I also grew in such an anger from them, even though during like their time of death. And I can remember my father calling me, and he'll call me and say, hey son, I'm coming to get you. And I can remember standing at the window from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m, just waiting for someone that was going to never show up. And so my grandma would be like, come on now, it's time to go to bed. And I'm like, no, grandma, please, he's going to come. He's going to come. He never showed up.
Wow.
And so my grandmother at that point said, listen, the way you acting every time he calls, I'm going to stop him from calling. Mm-hmm. And so that's what happened. Then once fast forward, okay, so my mom died, and I met my father's side of the family, which was such a blessing. My aunt, my cousins, my grandmother, and it was I knew I had family, but I didn't know. I didn't have no way of contacting them because my grandmother was angry how my dad did. You know, he always promised to come see me and never did. So when I physically met him, I didn't know what to feel. I knew that he was my, I guess my dad or the sperm donor. But even when he died, you know, I didn't know what to feel. I was more worried about my grandmother because that's my grandmother's son. So I was more concerned for her. I still didn't know how to feel because I never really had a conversation with him where I can ask him why. But another thing that helped me was I wanted to dive deeper. And I took this after I start feeling angry, I start not feeling sad for them myself, but feeling sad for them, being empathetic. So what I did was I started diving deeper into their lives because I want to see what made them treat me the way that they did. And what I found out is that both parents felt abandoned by their parents. And when I talked to my aunt and asked her about my dad, their dad wasn't around. So how can he be around for his son? It's that cycle. With my mom oftentimes said she was the black sheep of the family. And I can remember some of my aunts could do certain things that my mom couldn't. Also, too, my mom had trauma. She was 15. She was pregnant. They made her get married at 16. You know, so she had all these different things going on. So it also helped me not to develop a hatred for my parents, but a more understanding and able to love them because I dove deeper into their lives and I started feeling like, well, how can they be a parent to me? But I mean, how can you be if they didn't have parents or good parenting or whatever? How can they be good parents to me? It was just two toxic people that laid down and had a baby. Essentially, that's what happened. But I think the hurtful part is that my mom could love because I have a younger brother and she treated him like that was her golden child. But here it is, I felt abandoned. And I know it's because of my dad. I think my mom loved my dad and my dad just left her. So you take it out normally when things happen, you take it out on the closest people to you, which I'm a product of him because I'm his son. And she took that out on me. She took her unhappiness and whatever she was going through out on me. So it's a lot of work, you know, it's a lot of work, but present day, I forgave my parents. I love them for who they are. And yeah, I most definitely, because I had to forgive them for myself and for my sanity. You know, I had to get to that place where with me understanding how they live, it helped me cope with what was going on. So what's going on, good people? Thank you for joining the stream. If you are on Facebook, please, guys, make sure you share this live. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. More importantly, hit that bell. Shay, talk to us. Have you ever been through a certain situation, current or past?
I don't know if it would be a trauma. I think I can somewhat suffer from trying to be perfect, especially at work, because in the field I'm in, it's predominantly a man's world, and not just a man's world, but a white man's world. So being a woman, you typically have to really be almost perfect. And I think a lot of people don't know that it's honestly scary a lot of days that I have to go places, but I have to do things. I may have to speak or present. And I suffer from anxiety just because I be afraid that I'm going to mess up and I'm not going to be good enough. You know, so I just downloaded this app. It's called Affirmations. And even though I come off to everybody like, you know, I don't worry and I'm not afraid, I really do. I really be afraid like all the time. And I read these affirmations. I have 10 of them come to my phone every single day because I'm always afraid that I'm not going to be good enough. And no matter how many times people say you're good, you're great, I just never think that I'm deserving of it or I'm good enough. And I suffer from just not being good enough. So I don't know. It's weird. It's like, I don't know.
And what's crazy about that is that sometimes the things that we're obsessing about or worrying about, people don't even know, or they don't even notice, but we know our insecurities, and it just plays in our head. People don't even notice, like, you're fine. Oh, she killed that, but you're overhead. Like, I was stumbling over my words and nobody even noticed,
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
it's just sometimes I understand it's hard to get out of our own head. Like,
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I went to a leadership conference like 2 months ago, and I actually cried in front of all these people. I was so mad at myself. I could have killed myself because I kept saying I'm not gonna cry. But I told KJ, I'm like, on my way to this meeting, I said, I pray to God I'm not the only black girl or the only black person. Like, I pray God I'm not the only black person. And then I go in this room and it's like 20 white people, and then they're like, oh, everyone showed up, great. And I'm like, fuck, I'm the only black person. And you feel so alone. You just feel so alone. And they were so nice to me, and I was like, I was in fear that I was gonna be the only black person here, and then I was in fear that I was gonna be, like, cast away or made to feel like I wasn't good enough. And when you get around people, especially like other cultures, and you look and you don't see anybody that looks like you can't relate to nobody, and you're just in this room and they're talking, and it's like I got lost in color. They probably wouldn't even caring, but it was me that I just got my anxiety got going, and I'm just like, I don't deserve to be here. Why am I here? They should have had somebody. I'm just like, oh, they probably think I'm not smart, or they probably think that they gave me this position. And it just goes, and your brain is just moving. And it's like, when I got to this portion of the class where you had to give out one of your fears of coming to the class, it was me being the only black African American. And everybody in the class was like, you deserve it. Like, you deserve it. And it wasn't that I needed white people to tell me I was deserving. It was just like, I just wanted to feel like I deserved to be there. And I think that's my biggest fear, moving up the ladder at work, that I don't deserve to be there for some weird reason because I'm black.
You definitely deserve to be there.
Right. So your trauma stems from, which is common, the backlash of what we have to be
10 times
greater than everybody. We have to outshine. We have to be on our A game where they can just be basic themselves. We have to be. I get that. I never thought about that, but that caused you trauma. That caused you anxiety. I never thought about that. That's a different type of trauma. That is trauma.
Definitely is.
It's what we've been taught, and it somehow that whole critical. I think it's critical race theory, or it might be something different. But it's everything that what we learn. You taking it to the workplace, and I get how you have to feel like that. And then, of course, not only is you black, you're a woman.
Well, woman.
So it's like a double whammy. You know what I mean? Most of these corporations are ran by powerful white males. So not only is the color in place, you also have the gender.
Yeah, they always think you fucked your way to the top. They always, you can't be attractive because automatically they assume you're dating somebody or somebody. Like, one guy, when I went to Ford the other day, he says, whose elbows you're rubbing? Innuendo, who you sleeping with?
Wow,
that was very disrespectful.
And that was just like, whose elbows are you rubbing? And it's like,
oh, we need to contact Carl.
Like, what makes you do that? Yeah, but it's like they look at you like, what the hell? Like, this black girl walking through here, they showing her this, like, what's going on? And you start to, even though, again, like, I talked in that meeting and you would have never known, like Gio said, I felt some type of way. And I told you last week when they caught me off guard and they asked me a question I didn't have an answer to. I was like, and I'm sitting in this room, it's 7 white men around the table. Mm-hmm. One black guy who came with me, And they asked me this question and I don't have an answer because I don't know, because they caught me off guard. And all I can say was, I don't have the answer. I'll
But
get
I'll
the
follow
answer.
up with you. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the
That
next
was
time
good
you
enough.
see me, I'll have a follow-up for you.
And that was good enough. You're
Yeah.
not perfect. You're not going to know everything. That was perfect.
That's what the guy said that came with me. He said he just tried to catch she just tried to catch you up, but you gave her a good answer. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they asked me something that I had nothing to do with. It wasn't even my department. You know, I wouldn't have never known that. But just to try to make me feel like, you know what I'm saying, you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know your company or your business. It's just again, it's like that catch-22 where you like, I'm confident, and you tell yourself, but then you go in there and the whole time it's just this anxiety in the back of your head just telling you you're not going to get it, you're going to fail, you're not worthy, I don't know why you're doing this, and it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I've felt it myself. And I work obviously in corporate America as well. And I understand that like my team, it's recently kind of changed up because they did some restructuring, but everyone was white, and I was the only person of color on there. And I definitely felt like I was not a target, but like they were paying close attention to what I was doing more so than anyone else. Like I couldn't just blend in. They were like, what's he doing? They were on me for a minute until I started showing them that I could do the work and that I could kick ass in what I was doing. Then they left me the fuck alone. But
look what you had to do.
True.
Then you had to prove your worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know how many Black people out here really are 50 times better than the people that's in the position, but we don't get the accolade, or we don't get the respect or the validation just because it's automatically assumed you're lazy, somebody gave it to you, you cheated, you didn't deserve it. It's always this weird, thing where you just can't be phenomenally attractive, phenomenally intelligent, articulate, know what you're talking about, confident. You can't have all of those things. It's a trick to it. And it just sucks. It sucks that you have to go through that. It sucks.
That's how I feel. Go ahead, Sheena.
I can't tell you how many Christmas pictures I've been in, and I was the only Black person in my department. This has been like my whole career. So I completely understand what you're experiencing, Shay and Gio. It's just it's here to stay. It seems like, we're still going through the first Black person to this and the first Black person to do that. And it's overwhelming at times.
It is very overwhelming.
And I work in cybersecurity, so I work with the amount of men or different cultures that I work with are everything but Black. It's not a lot of women. Every day I have to prove myself. So I understand exactly what you mean about feeling anxiety, having to run meetings and things like that. Yeah. It can be a lot. DeAndre said, I understand this very well. You don't know what kind of Black you have to be.
Right.
And that's unfortunate, because we should be able to show up and be ourselves like they are. We should be able to wear our hair how we want to wear it, and anything else.
And then when you with another group of Black people, then you have to make sure you're not being too white, or you're not being too intelligent.
It is. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't be intelligent, because then you think you all that. You can't move up in the company. Then you Uncle Tom, you kiss Uncle Tom butt. So it's like, you just be like, what the fuck?
Just got to be yourself. Because one thing about these jobs, either you're going to be good enough for the assignment that you're on, and when they're ready to let you go, they will anyway. So people come on these jobs and they're the tattletale, they're the this, they're the that, think that's going to give them a leeway to stay. You're going to get fired with everybody else when it's your turn. So you come doing all that extra stuff if you want to. But KJ, you was going to say something.
No, I was just saying, Shay actually had me think about some things, even with my interviews. I wonder why. First of all, I don't apply for jobs that I'm not suitable for. But when I get in interviews, I get so nervous because I know that, one, I'm a Black male. Mm-hmm. Two, I have education behind me. So they like, And what they do is they depict you apart. Like, I feel like my interviews are never like interviews for me. They're like, so you did this. Tell me with this and this and this. That's why when I be asking you guys, when I say I'm nervous, I'm not nervous that I can't get the job. It's just nervous that I'm not going to look like a fool, or I'm not answering the question the way that they want me to, or and stuff like that. It's every time I interview, I get this anxiety. It's just, even though I know I'm qualified, or probably overqualified, but I just, yeah, it's just, that's just the way of the world. So I did drop the link. So if anybody in the chat want to come in and join us, just paste that link into your internet window and just join in.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, make sure y'all come on in. Every guest to come in, you get 5 minutes, about 5 to 7 minutes, just depending on how many people waiting. And yeah, let's make this interactive live. Gio, I know you kind of expound on just like some things from the job. Is there anything else that you ever been through that you felt like is something that kind of was held you hostage growing up or currently?
I don't know about a hostage, but I'll share, my experience. I hate that we're going back to death, but the loss of my mother was one of the biggest things that I went through in the past few years. I just remember, even when she was still alive, in my mind, it was always my greatest fear. It's like because I didn't know how I was going to handle it. I didn't know what it was going to feel like, and I honestly thought like, I'm never gonna get over this. And it hadn't even happened, but like that's just how much fear it instilled in me. And then, unfortunately, it did happen. And I remember my mother was on my living room floor, and they were trying to resuscitate her. And I just was so just numb. I didn't really know what to feel or what to think. And there was a moment where the paramedics left and her body was just laying there on the floor, and she was actually wearing one of my jackets, and they had cut it up to put the machine on. It was very traumatic. And I had a moment of quiet with her, and I just kind of said my last words to her in that moment, because I don't know. I didn't know what to do. I was helpless, in the moment I was extremely helpless, and it just was a shock. And so since it happened in my apartment, I couldn't stay there. I literally had to leave for a month. I couldn't even be there. There was a few things around that she had left, and everything would just trigger an emotion out of me. And I was like, I can't continue going through life with this on my shoulders. I have to figure out a way to deal with this. And the thing I went to therapy. Let me say that too. I did go to therapy for several months, just to talk about it, because I was disappointed in myself, and I'll try to dive into that quickly, because I felt like I didn't get to give her the life that I felt that she deserved. And her last memories of me just she wasn't in the place that I had wanted her to be. And my therapist told me that, even though you didn't give her the life that she may have wanted, and honestly, she was really a simple woman, so she wasn't wanting anything crazy. So that was probably just something I made up in my mind. But just to remember that she was happy with me and where we were, and she was, and also that, she was no longer suffering. That was the main thing. She was no longer suffering, and it would be, I would be selfish for me to continue to want her to be here just for my benefit. And when I thought of it like that, I was like, I would much rather her be at peace than to, still be here, still be sick, still be suffering just so I can look at you. No, that was, once I shifted my mindset on that, I was like, okay, I know this is hard, but it's what's best. So, yeah, therapy works, and we just have to figure out ways to process these situations, and get through, because so much of it is in our heads.
It is,
and just finding that balance is difficult sometimes. But once you get to the other side of things, you'll look at it differently, and you'll appreciate and love where you are. Sorry.
Wow. No, that
I'm
was
so sorry. I didn't know.
I'm sorry to hear.
Really sorry. Everyone on this panel's mom is deceased.
And
Here.
my sister is in a thread, and I think that summed it so well. Like, I almost physically get ill. Like, I physically get ill thinking about it, because I think my mind was like, I think what bothered me the most is that she knew.
Take your time.
Oh, honey.
Take your time, sweetheart.
Um, she knew the date and her birthday and how old she was, and my name and my sister, and I worried that she knew she was gonna die, and what kind of mental, like, how did that fuck with her brain, like, like, so it just bothers me, like, it haunts me at night, like, it's a haunter. And it's, you try to, people tell you, oh, it's gonna be okay. And I try to stay busy. God knows I do. I do anything I could possibly do not to think about it, because it physically makes me sick, and I wanna feel better. I don't wanna feel sad, and I don't wanna be angry, but it's like days where I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm mad, I'm furious, I'm lonely. It's just all these emotions. You just want to just tear some shit up. You know what I'm saying? Because you just don't know what to feel. It's just that, I don't know. It's fucked up.
You definitely go
I don't
through.
want to own that as a trauma. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to own it as a trauma.
Once you get to that point where it's like right now you're going through that whole denial, but you anger, depression, that whole bargaining situation, there is going to be a time where you accept it. And once you get to that point, that's you get to that point on your own. Nobody can make you get to that point, because I can tell you 27 years later, I can tell you the exact moment when my mom died, when my cousin came out and told me she died. That's 27 years later. So it's something you would never get over with. And I'm sure you guys can attest. You guys can attest. Yeah, you don't never get over it, but you kind of learn to, like Sheena said, you learn how to deal with it, and things like that. And think about the good times that you did have with her. And those things, even though your mind get cloudy, I can say, like, okay, one thing my mom didn't play about is cleanliness, and she made sure we were clean. She didn't play that. She made sure we ate, and she did, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have a lot of time because I was young. But think about the times your mom prayed for you. Think about all of those good times and keep that near and dear to your heart. And at your own time, you'll come to the place where you accept it, and it'll be easier for you to not get over it, but it'll be easier for you to live with that. And I'm telling you,
once you get to the point where you understand that she'll always be with you, that's another way to cope. Because for me, my mom passed. It's been 9 years now, and after she passed, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, no point of getting married now. She wanted to see me in a wedding, I'm like, no point of having a baby now. She ain't gonna see the baby. But then I have to think about it, like, well, she will. She's always gonna be with you. Every time I look in the mirror, I see her. Every time I see my sister Nisha, she looks just like my mom. So it's like, oh my God, you looking like your mama today. Every time, So it's just things like that that help you cope. To know that you can feel her presence. I can feel my mom. I know that she's around,
Amen.
I'm really sorry, Shay. I'm sorry, Gio. I'm sorry, Kev, because it's a journey,
It's most definitely a journey.
You'll never get over.
Yeah.
I just know that I did right by her. I was a good kid, and so I didn't live with any regrets. I didn't have to live without her with any regrets.
Amen. One thing I can say about all you guys' mom, they proud of you guys, of the people and the adults that you guys have became, and they'll be, if they not physically with us, but they spiritually, and they smiling, because they looking at their son, they looking at their daughters, and yeah. So just continue to do what you have to do. And I got this thing in my mind because my grandparents, I don't want to disappoint them, even though they're not here. I don't want them to have to chastise me or come in my dream because I did something. I still feel like I gotta continue to do this, and that's one of the reasons why I try to go above and beyond, because I want to have the life that my parents probably wanted. You know what I mean? They didn't get a chance to have.
I like that.
They didn't get to have a chance to have. I do know with some people trying to jump in now. I'm sorry. You can jump in there. I dropped the link. You guys don't have to show your face, but if you want to add to the situation, just come on in.
Hey, Becca Timbe.
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on?
I was going to say, yo, bug.
Everybody come in. You get about 5 minutes.
You might need to repost it. Yeah.
Repost
for people who haven't.
Okay.
So yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna drop the link, and if you guys want to add to the show, come in and talk. You don't have to show your face. You can just do the audio, and we'd love to hear your story.
Right. Hi, Harold.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hey. I appreciate you guys. Everybody that's on Facebook, please share this live. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. More importantly, hit that bell so that you guys know when we go on live. We do this show every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little, maybe 8:30, 8:45 CP time. So EST, CP for the So yeah. Just bear with us.
Well, I did want to touch on something that you said earlier, Kev. You were saying that your brother was looked at as the golden child, right? So I have come to the conclusion that I don't think it's that. I really don't think parents have favorites. I think that because they are your parents, that they understand which of their children need the most attention, the most love, the most chances and second chances. I don't think they have favorites. I really don't. I used to think that, but being the baby of 5 daughters, I still never felt like I was my mom's favorite or anything like that. But I also realized that she understood that I could take care of myself. She didn't have to worry about me. Okay. And I lived with that burden for some years, because on her deathbed, I asked her, what did she need from me? And she looked at me and said, take care of Helen. Helen is my middle sister. So I was like, well, I guess I'm just chopped liver as the baby, And then for a while, I was just like, dang, my mama was like, that was tough. But I had to think about it. She know I could take. She know me.
What's up, Dre?
So I don't really think parents have favorites. I just think because they are your parents, they know.
I love you, Sheena, but I think they got favorites.
I really don't think they have favorites. I just think they know which children needs more tender love and care and attention and patience. And, think about how mom is always letting the crackhead come stay back in their house. And, all the different movies that we see, it's like that child is always the child that's able to come back home. They know which one of their children need, the most love and tender care. And stuff.
Right. Welcome, Dre. What's going on with you, man?
What's up?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, you're here.
Y'all like talking to me. Hold up.
Yeah, you live, bro.
He said, oh, snap.
I didn't even know
that was on last time.
Okay. LaTanya said parents most definitely have favorites.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe. Siblings have favorites too. That's argument.
Yeah. So, Drake, tell us, what can you add to this this conversation?
I don't know. There's so much stuff that happened in this conversation. I guess as far as the parents having favorites thing, yes. I don't know. I feel like every relationship that you have with your child is different. I don't necessarily think that it's favorites. It's just that there's a thing that you have with your kid that you like better than with another. And a lot of times as children, because you're like developing your identity, right? You kind of have this view of your child. of your parent. I'm sorry. You have this view of your parent. This is what your parent is, and your siblings think of your parent as something completely different.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's necessarily favorites, but there's like a different relationship usually
Absolutely.
with every kid. Um, it's definitely like that for me. So
Are you how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two older brothers. I'm the baby. I'm the super baby. I'm the surprise baby. So
okay. Do you feel you
so,
benefited being the surprise baby?
Yes, there are some benefits. So the biggest benefit, well, I don't know if it's necessarily a benefit, but it made my entire life different. Was that I was never really around kids my own age, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of my brothers, like my brothers are like 10 years older than me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I was around all of their friends.
Okay.
I grew up around like adults. So I didn't have like kids that I would play with. There were no kids and around the block. There were no kids. There was just like no children around when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So like when school starts to like really become a thing, I'm not into it. I'm not into all the kid stuff. I'm like, all of this is kid stuff.
So you feel you grew up a little faster?
Yeah. I probably grew up like way too mature. I always tell my mom, I was like, I feel like I missed childhood. Like I didn't have like I don't know, like a typical childhood that people have of like not caring about stuff.
You always have to care about stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and my mom basically agreed. She was like, by the time you were 8, you could like feed yourself and basically take care of yourself. So I just let you do that. So yeah, but I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing to me, I guess. Get out a lot of bullshit.
So let me ask you just one question. Because you said you didn't have a childhood, pretty much, do that make you angry at your mother because you wasn't allowed to do things that normal kids at that age would probably do? Do you have any type of resentment or anything?
No. I mean, like I have resentment for other things, but definitely not that.
Okay.
That's one of those things that I'm kind of grateful for. Like that it saved me from a lot of things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It saves me from a lot of, especially like in the hood, like growing up in the hood, like it saves you from a lot of things that could have caught on to you, right? And being around adults, like just working adults all the time, it kind of changes your perspective on what is okay and not okay to do. Like I was the person that kids were out here trying to do like crazy stuff. I was the one like, don't do that. I was that kid. I was that kid.
Okay.
So I like for me, like I don't have resentment on that front anyway.
Okay.
But while I'm on that, that does touch on something now that I'm thinking about it. Cause there is a bit of resentment because how I just said that my mom would leave me at like 8. It made the entire family kind of look at me like he doesn't have any issues. He doesn't have any problems.
Exactly.
So we're gonna leave him to his devices, right? And for the most part, like I was able to like work out my own issues. But like, after some therapy, like you it it sheds light on a lot of things that was like wrong. A lot of things that like things that I didn't understand why this would happen. It happened. And a lot of it is because I had to like work things out in my like pre-adolescent brain. And you carry that into adulthood and don't even realize it.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah.
really quick, and then we're gonna go to the next caller. So you feel like you don't resent your mom for it. You enjoy playing games and things like that. So you pretty much had a decent childhood, I would say, right?
I
Well,
did
you
have
know
I had a
what?
very fortunate I had a
Okay,
very
good,
fortunate childhood because my mom kept me from a lot of things.
good.
My mom kept us in a very safe environment.
Uh-huh.
The problem was I was very independent. So I got away with doing independent things at a very young age. And doing independent things in the hood was not necessarily safe. So I did a lot of uh, criminal things at a very young age.
Hey, listen, we on recording line now. You trying to get a whole bunch of other
We about
stuff,
to get.
It's
Andre.
fine.
Listen, we're gonna have to cut you off here, okay?
Can't nobody
He
prove
about to get.
can't nobody prove nothing.
Well, we definitely enjoyed you, Mr. Woodruff.
It's
And
crazy.
we got a couple people in line after you. We're gonna have you come back on later.
Yeah, we got
All
two more
right, all
people.
right.
Thanks, man. We
Thank
appreciate you.
Nice to
you.
meet
Thank
you.
you.
Problem.
Hi, DeAndre.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Yeah,
Hey.
I'm sorry I got on so late. I'm not folding clothes this week. I promise.
That was in the background. What's
You
going
know,
on?
I'm saying Brick City, not without
Right. So what?
because all it is bricks outside in Atlanta, and that's what it is. I don't know.
Tell it.
That's
Speak
funny.
on it.
So
go ahead.
so I saw where some of the topics were dealing with trauma and growing up and what have you. I'm gonna try to be nice because I'm not going to spill a whole lot of stuff because we'll never get to the next caller. I'll be in tears and all the other stuff. But what I will say is that I think my biggest challenge, especially now that I'm 47, I know the skin is deceptive. But
Yes, Mr. 37-year-old. Okay.
Right?
47.
He said 47.
47. I know she was giving me 10 years. I appreciate you.
Right?
Is that every place that that I've had any trauma in relationships has been from those formative conversations that don't take place when you're growing. Like I never had the relationship talk. My dad tried to have the sex talk after my son was already born. What are you doing? And I remember one time, this was probably before your time, when MCI used to be hanging out by on campus as soon as you get to college and whatever, trying to sign you up for stuff. I signed up for a phone card to call my friends over the over summer break and whatever. My mom was like, "You gonna ruin your credit? What is credit? It's."
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that my mom is a bookkeeper.
Wow.
Like, you work in finance, but you never explained to me what the hell credit is. And that's the thing. I think that, not too dissimilar from DeAndre, I had to just figure it out. I'm the youngest of two of us, but people kind of regard me as the oldest because I just happen to take on things because I can't sit still, and I can't Did he say yawn? Where's the trauma? Because I ain't broken the tears yet. Um, but I think because of that, when you start trying to speed past a whole lot of things, um, I got married at what, I was 22, and
20,
I
22 when you got married.
Wow. It's very
and
young.
and I ain't know shit at all. I didn't know a damn thing. I didn't even know myself. So there's so many different ways that those formative conversations not being had, you know, being damn near homeless and whatever. Then you got toddlers, and then because you're not fortified on the front end of your life, then it starts to crumble. So having to kind of just go from place to place, and then you have toddlers with you and whatever. Then you're trying to figure out dating and all the other stuff and whatever all over again in the middle of it took almost 12 years for my divorce to finalize. It's just been a
So quick
lot.
question.
Yeah.
So you got married at 22.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you was married and had kids because of the stuff? Do you think you chose a bad wife?
I think that neither one of us were equipped
Mm,
enough at our age to be anybody's parent, to be anybody's spouse.
That's
And
fair.
I think that there are a lot of ways that lack of preparedness created some deep hurts
damn.
that just left us with nothing else but resentment for each other. And before now, I spent years trying to just, can we be friends? Can we co-parent? Can we? There just came a point where I was like, fuck it. You don't like me, I don't like you either, and I'm cool with it. And I mean that's the thing. I think that there's a certain way that which we try to please people so badly, even though the sight of them burns a hole in us inside, and that just leads us to so much trauma and dis-ease about who we are, and even to the point where we start losing our identity because we're trying so hard to please people who don't give a fuck about us.
So how many children you have? Two.
Yeah.
So can you see some of the things you went through? Your kids is kind of picking up some of the things that you probably experienced when you were growing
Oh,
up.
of course.
Okay.
Of course, I've had to deal with my kids going through depression, and we've had histories in my family genetically of suicide. So it's just been a lot to unpack. And again, I'm the youngest, but there's always something that I've I'm being held to a standard to complete, as if I'm leading everything. I don't want to lead nothing,
I
right now.
understand.
Okay.
Now, only to a degree. There are some spaces that I have to take hold of course, but not everything. If there's some spaces that we can share responsibility, let's do that as a family and as a community together, because just throwing it on people because they stand in there,
Hmm.
it's crazy. I was at my godfather's funeral, and I'm in tears, I'm losing my mind and whatever, and they wanted me to make announcements of everyone who gave their condolences
Oh wow.
with eyes runny, snot running down my face and whatever, and all of this and whatever, and I thought it was going to be a closed casket. It was an open casket with him sitting there right in front of me while they had me reading this stuff, all the
Wow.
acknowledgments.
Now that is trauma.
Most
Yeah.
definitely it is. See,
Wow.
I thought you was gonna get up here and just cry. I'm like, oh, he about to bring some
Nah,
trauma.
nah,
He's
nah,
about to.
nah, nah, nah,
Nah, I know. I'm just messing with you.
nah. But
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that the way that you can the way that you can deal with trauma isn't just to get over it. you can't just put a band-aid on it. I've been through therapy and whatever, but I talk about what my experiences are very openly, so that it's not one of these things where it always seems like every time you talk to me about something bad that happened in my life that you got to go get some tissue. I went through the experience. I'm not reliving it. And for those who subscribe to my Instagram, I actually just wrote this piece about it, that dealt with this one relationship that I was loving someone who didn't love me back for almost 20 years, in the midst
Oh.
of all the different transitions and what have you. And
Wow.
for someone to make you feel like um what you felt for them is just okay.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever they call, you just go running and whatever. And it just turned out that I was like, there's a reason why we're not moving in the same direction, because we're not meant to be together. Why can't I just cut you off and leave you alone or whatever, and stop even incorporating you in spaces in my life. And what made it so bad is that in the midst of me turning away and really trying to figure out me, my ex had a stroke, had to get a pacemaker put in, um, went blind,
Damn.
and is now on a walker. And that's when this person finally wanted to be in a relationship, but
Mm.
with somebody else.
Wow.
Oh.
We got to pick this up on an after show.
Say
This is
part
a lot.
two, right?
Part
Listen.
two or two.
But
We
yeah,
got,
it's but I'll put my IG in the chat, because the piece is actually on there, and it's actually about transforming from going through that experience
Mhm.
to getting on the other side of it and finding your own freedom.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah.
drop your IG.
Of course.
Thank you.
All
We
right, y'all.
enjoyed you.
I thought you was going
Likewise.
to be boo-hooing.
Nah, that's not
We
how
wanted
we doing.
drama.
No,
We
we
really
giving
appreciate
we
it.
giving snippets. We
Right.
getting snippets, because
Right,
I'm not permanently on the panel yet.
I love that you are
Right.
aware of your story.
For sure.
Yes.
You
Most
know that it
definitely.
was some work to be done. So
Most definitely.
we
Every
appreciate
day.
that.
We appreciate that, man.
All right, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, let's see. We got one more. Come on, Art. What's up, man? What you got to add to the show? How you feeling?
What's going on?
What's going
Y'all
on?
want drama?
Welcome.
My life has been nothing but drama.
He said-
My life started out. Let's see. How do I start? 4 years old, being molested by a uncle.
we can't hear you. You sound kind of.
Oh,
that's
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, we can hear you now.
Okay. 4 years old. Started out being molested by an uncle.
Oh my
Oh
God.
wow.
Growing up, I think he molested me for 7 years.
My goodness.
Wow.
My mother it was her brother, of course. My father wasn't in the picture, but I did have a stepfather that was there. But my mother would rather run the streets than be at home. So they used him as a babysitter.
Mm.
And of course, they know you love your parents. So the thing was, if you tell, I'm gonna kill your mom.
Wow.
So sorry.
Going through that. But growing up, I lashed out. I was very disruptive, destructive. I did things. Like I said, I lashed out. If I told you to kiss my ass, that's what I meant. Pulled my pants down in the middle of the street and bent over for you to do it.
Damn.
Yeah.
I became the protector of the kids in my family, because if anybody knows that a molested child usually will become a molester.
Mm.
And I refuse to, let that cycle continue. I heard about him, trying to molest other kids in my family. And as I got older, and I went to him and I told him, I said, if you touch another child in this family, you won't breathe again. And I meant every word of it.
Wow.
I was about to kill him at my grandmother's funeral because my little cousins called me and told me that he was trying to touch him.
Wow.
And my partner stopped me. We went to a family reunion, and that's why I don't like to be touched by people outside of anybody in my relationships, because I don't like people touching me. He stripped a lot of things from me that I think myself, I
I'm so sorry. Take your time.
created another personality
Mm.
to protect myself. The silly, joking person that I always am is me. I gave my middle name to that other personality.
Mm.
And it's not a good thing if that comes out.
But let me ask you
Yeah.
this, Art. If I'm not being too intrusive, I want to just apologize, just for the things you went through, man. If nobody ever told you sorry, let me say sorry. Just that you went through that as a child. That's something no child should have to go through. Um, have you went to therapy about this?
No, I sure haven't.
Right.
I'm reluctant to go through therapy. I choose to deal with things on my own. Um, I think I'm strong enough to do it. But as I stated when you were talking, or when Shay was talking, that you don't necessarily you don't get over it. You just learn how to deal with it.
Absolutely.
So let me say this, and I know people have, especially in our community, being black, there's a negative connotation on therapy, and sometimes it's out of our hand, right? And this is why God put skilled clinicians in place so that we can, um, so they can help us.
Right.
Maybe the way that we've been doing it may not be the exact way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna challenge you to talk to a therapist if I have to personally help you research to find somebody. Just try one time. You know, you never know how the experience may be until you try something. Just try
Right.
one time, and I will personally help you research whatever. But I think it's something that you need to just talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that's not biased, somebody that you don't feel judged, somebody you can just open up everything. You might find it to be helpful. And not only would you help yourself, you might be able to help your other loved ones who experience the same trauma. So,
But I mean, like I just spoke with one of my little cousins the other day, or my younger cousin, and he thanked me. He
Yeah.
was like, because the things you went through, you didn't allow us to go through.
Yeah, someone in the comments said, Rebirth Resurrected in the comments said, Art, I'm so proud of you for telling your story. And I'm sorry you went through that. I've been there. Hi, Larry.
Hey, what's up, Larry? What's going on, bro?
But I mean, like I said, my life has been nothing but drama. It's been that to my partner of 27 years dying in my arms.
Oh, wow. So sorry.
And I think that's the reason why I reach out to try to do, to be friends now with people, or, just to have the intimacy or the caring part of me out. For the last 5 years, I pretty much locked it up and, just didn't care, just stayed at home and, but now I'm trying to get out more and, just deal with people.
Well, it takes a lot, first of all, to come out and say what you said on a panel with people that you don't even know us, first of all.
Most definitely.
You don't know how many people's lives you are touching. And it may not be the same story, but the courage that you have to say that, it's encouraging to me. You know what I'm saying? You was my aha today that I can talk about tomorrow.
But see, that's what I strive to be. I told somebody this morning, I go to streams and I joke and laugh and just pick with people because you never know what you're doing for somebody else. You could be that smile that somebody needed to pull themselves out of something.
Absolutely.
You never notice if you never know if me joking around and being a fool is helping somebody out with depression or a suicidal thought. So you never really know what your situation is going to help somebody else with.
Absolutely.
And I tell everybody, I like being truthful and upfront in everything that I do.
Larry says, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Larry says, amazing. You're doing the work, Art. You're elevating. So. And Yoko Tatum said, therapy is a process that teaches you about you. I've been going on and off all of my life, and it helped me accomplish goals. Thank you, Art, for sharing, and God bless you.
Hey, what's up, cuz? Love you.
Bless you too.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you taking out the time. But really think about seeking therapy. Like I said, we can research and find you somebody, because I feel like if you ever want to get to the point you get into a relationship, you have to make sure that you are healed and fixed before you go into another situation. You see what I'm saying? Because what you're going to do is take what you're dealing with in a relationship to a person that and you create toxicity. Not saying that you are toxic, but you bring things that you going through to a person that had nothing to do with it. So I want you to heal yourself first. Talk to somebody. Therapy, like Yoko said, it is a process, and but and everybody have their difference with therapy. And I hear people that said it has helped them tremendously, and I've heard others, but you would never know until you try it. All I'm gonna say is just give it a shot.
And the fact that you broke down as you were telling your story is an indication that you're not over it. So you may need to, work through some processes.
For sure.
I got a phenomenal therapist, If you're looking for a therapist, she is phenomenal. She is non-biased. She deals with all types of people, white, black, gray, orange, gay, straight, Christians. She is phenomenal, and she truly takes her time to uncover. My son started going 3 years ago, and he was like, "Ma, I absolutely love her because she makes you talk." Once that second or third meeting, oh no, she telling you gotta take some layers off, because what you telling me, dig deeper. And eventually she gets down to the good part where you leave and you literally feel pounds lighter. So I just made an appointment to go with her to talk to her because of my mom passing. And I know I cover up a lot of stuff. But
Right.
she'll get them layers back, and I think that's who's gonna help me kind of get to a place where I cannot feel empty all the time. Like I feel a void all the time.
Okay.
So if you need somebody, believe me, she's your girl. She's
Well,
phenomenal.
that's good to know. Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
All right.
we'll give you that information. We'll make sure you get that information, Art, and just try. We'll make sure. We all with you. You got a family within us, and we're gonna do. We'll make sure we're gonna follow up. I'm gonna most definitely follow up with you, making sure that you check on you, making sure that you at least talk to somebody. At least just talk to somebody.
Shay,
And,
Yoko said what's her name?
Yeah, what's her name? I'll make sure you get it, cuz. I'll make sure you get the information.
I'm gonna type it in.
She gonna type it. Okay.
Let me get it.
All right. Larry said art therapy is a beautiful thing. It's nothing like talking to a total stranger who's there to help and not judge. Journaling daily is also helpful for you for a self-discovery.
Yes, sir. Well, again, Art, I appreciate you, man, and we'll make sure we'll be keeping in contact, making sure that you get the information from the therapist.
All right.
All right. Thank you, man.
Thanks again. Have a good night, Art.
Well, y'all, so this concludes the show. This was a lot to impact. But I just want to thank each and every last one of you guys. I want to thank my panel and also the guests. And for the people who probably didn't have the courage to come on, I want to thank you all for your transparency. And just know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And even though there's a negative connotation with therapy, you won't know until you try it. All I can say, you never know how something until you try it once. You know what I mean? So just try the therapy, see where it's at. And it's okay. We can break these curses and things that has been held us bound for years.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraged that you guys are going to do well. I'm encouraged that we can look back and say, wow, I did it. I was able to get through this. And so there is light at the end of the tunnel. And so I'm just leave you guys with that. Just stay prayerful. Make sure to keep positive people around you. Be care of toxic and negative energy. And remember those 5 stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, more importantly, the acceptance. Once you get to the point where you accept what happened, that's at that point, that's when that healing takes place. And just know things that happened to you as a child, it's not our fault. We were children. It's not your fault. It's something that's out of our control. And I'm going to leave you with that. Sheena, what you got?
Nobody is perfect. We're meant to have some type of struggles. We're meant to enjoy the experience. It's not a bad thing. And like you say, to see the light. It's a quote that I wanted to quote from Rumi. It says, "The wound is a place where the light gets in." And that's just an indication that you're aware of your pain, and to know that there's opportunity for light to come in. And think about dark places. We've all been there, but you definitely can grow from it. It's a place you may be in a dark space, but it's definitely it's an outlet for you. Just think about how plants and trees grow in soil in dark spaces and can grow to be so beautiful. So, and we have to stop judging each other based on your trauma being worse than mine, or, oh, you didn't have to bring that up. That wasn't a big deal. Everybody is important, and everybody's situation is important.
Amen.
So, yeah. What about you, Shay? What you want to leave us with tonight?
I actually have a quote too. I found it. So this was one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "Life is like a camera. Focus on what is important. Capture the good times. Develop from the negatives. And if things don't work out, you can always take another shot."
Absolutely.
So,
I need that. Yeah,
I love
to me.
it. Don't get so consumed in all of the negatives. Develop them. It's good. But if you don't like how the negatives come out, you can always take another picture. There's another day.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I love it.
Amen. I love that. Gio, take us away, bro.
just to continue to take care of yourself. Some advice: stay calm in unpleasant situations and accept mistakes as opportunities to learn.
Love
Wow.
it.
Wow.
Harold said this was my first podcast. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us, Harold.
Thanks, Harold. I appreciate you,
Larry
bro.
said he missed most of the show tonight because he was working out. Got to get that body right. Okay.
Right? Summertime.
And Larry says, surround yourself with people whose faces light up when they see you coming. That's a good word. I like that.
Amen. So this concludes the
You'll put the information in. Her name is Ayanna Harris.
Type it right in the comments.
They can't see. I can't type in the comments. Only you can.
Okay.
So
What is it?
I'm gonna tell you her name is Ayanna Harris.
Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm gonna type the therapist. Miss Ayanna Harris, can you send that check for promotion?
It's
I know, right?
It's Ayanna Harris. She's located in Dearborn, but she does calls on the phone, and you can set up an appointment with her. The telephone number is 313 769
5705.
5705. Yes.
All right,
I don't know if she's taking new patients. I'm not guaranteeing it, but she's a phenomenal therapist. Phenomenal.
Okay. So yeah, that's Miss Ayanna Harris, located in Dearborn, Michigan. Phone number is 313-769-5705. Also, I don't know. I believe she takes insurance. So if you guys have health insurance,
of course she takes insurance.
you can see what insurance she takes. We don't know, but just give her a call. Just give the number a call. Go from there. And we appreciate you, Shay, for providing that information. And Miss Harris, I'll be knocking on the door for that check. So rebirth, like if she's single. She
is cute though. Oh my God, she's cute. She's really cute.
But yeah, thank you so much. And this concludes our show, guys. I greatly appreciate you all for coming and just partaking with us every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Again, if you're watching on Facebook, please be sure to share this live. YouTube, if you're on YouTube, if you're not, run over to YouTube now. Subscribe to the channel, Bearded Man Chronicles. More importantly, hit that bell so that you guys notified when I drop new content. Remember to choose positivity over negativity. If no one told you that they love you, just know that we love you. Take care and have a good one.
Peace.
Hey. Y'all crazy.